Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Antoine Stewart, and I just wanted to give my 2 cents to the Philip Anthony Mitchell controversy, if you want to call it that, or the outrage from some members of the black church or the black community. And I just want to say that, what he's saying is actually true. Um, Scripture backs that up, but also you got to really think about it. Like, we got to stop playing around out here, man. Are there bad cops out here? Absolutely. But that's a small percentage. Majority of cops are good cops. Actually, majority of cops work for your families. Most people I know have at least one person in their family that work for law enforcement. And those people do their jobs and come home. Are there a few bad apples out there? Absolutely. Does police brutality happen? Absolutely. That's why you have to judge everything by a case by case basis. When that happens, those officers deserve to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law, lose their jobs or whatever actions follow that. But a lot of the times out here with these shootings and stuff like that, people gotta educate yourselves and know when a good shoot and a bad shoot is. But for the 50 and up crew, growing up, you was taught as a child how to conduct yourself with law enforcement. If you get pulled over, how to be respectful. You know what I'm saying? Certain things you do to just make sure that that interaction goes smoothly. And, be respectful to the person that's pulling you over. Letting them know you ain't reaching for nothing. Because these officers are dealing with situations when people are reaching for stuff. Like, we can't say we grow up in the hood and in the trenches and pretend like we don't know what be going on in these hoods and in these trenches, that these youngins out here carrying straps for real, and that the violence and the murders are happening. Because the same people that you call when you dial 911, that you hoping that is going to either rescue you or be there because a shooting or violence has happened, are the same people that you telling them screw you. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, especially in the black community, I would say this: there is a hatred towards law enforcement. Not everybody, but it is there. And when you're dealing with law enforcement, or you get pulled over or something happens and you in the right, just be respectful, talk calmly, and go along with whatever happens. If you are involved in police brutality or something like that, the best thing for you to do to survive is comply and file your report, file your case, sue the department, or whatever legal actions you got to take. If you want to try to fight the police, 9 times out of 10, that's not going to end in your favor. So the best thing to do is comply and fight your battle another day. It's all about survival. But like I said, most police interactions, most people who have interaction with the police, whether you're getting pulled over for speeding or whatever, most people go home at the end of the day. Only a small few that don't end up like that. And that could either be one or two things. The person that was pulled over is not trying to go to jail, or, a situation where it was a mistaken of something, or you reached for something, he thought it was this, he thought it was that. That's why keep your hands on 10 and 2 has always been a thing. Like, hey, look, have your ID, your registration out before they get to the window. If you riding in tents, have the windows rolled down for officer safety, so they know that, nobody in the back with a gun or anything like that. Be respectful. And 9 times out of 10, when you like that, you either gonna get your ticket or you gonna get whatever, and you gonna go on about your way. But if you breaking the law and you on that side, things end up differently. You may go to jail or things like that. But let's stop acting like him telling people to teach your kids, black people, teach your kids to be respectful of law enforcement and things like that is not the right thing to do. Nobody's saying police brutality doesn't happen. It happens. You know, I've personally been a victim of it, so I can speak from it from a personal standpoint. But most of my interactions with law enforcement, if I look at my whole lifespan, have been positive. And, you know, when you out here doing things you're not supposed to be doing, usually your interactions are not as positive, right? But there shouldn't be no outrage about what he said, man. Look, because 911 is going to be the same number you call when something happens to you. These men and women, are trying to have a job to do, and most of them are good people, are good cops. There are bad cops out there, you know, we can't ignore that, but that's why it's so important to judge things by a case by case basis. All right, y'all, peace.